Hey, I'm Walt Williams, and you're watching the Maryland Players Show on Fan Media. So, welcome to the show again. We have a outstanding guest today. She's 19th all-time scoring in Maryland's history with 1,407 points, 9th all-time in rebounding with 873 rebounds, 10th all-time rebounds per game, 7.5, 7th all-time field goal percentage with 56.5% from the field, 6th all-time free throws made and attempted, number one, numero uno all-time block shots with 198, drafted 10th overall in the 2008 WNBA draft to the Sacramento Monarchs, coached at Loyola, High Point, George Washington, Florida, Montverde Academy, and Coppin State. Most outstanding player in the 2006 NCAA tourney, and a huge part of the 2006 national championship team. Welcome to the show, Coach Laura Harper. How you doing?
Wow, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm honored to be here and grateful for this time, so thank you so much.
You didn't even realize you put in that much work, huh?
When you say it like that, and when I think about my injury my freshman year, I think that God really blessed me to be able to make impact. So thank you.
Yeah. So you're from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. What was it like growing up in Philly as a young kid?
It's funny because when I think about how focused I was and how driven my parents allowed me to be, I feel as though I was not necessarily a product of my surroundings and my environment because I was so locked into what I had to do to be great. Yeah. And I grew up with my grandma for a long time, and all I was doing was going to the court and I was in the books. Like, both of my parents were educators, so there was no time for any nonsense.
So you talking about going to the court and staying in the book. So how did your love for the game start? Where did that come from? Were you playing pickup games with the boys, or how did that come about?
So my father, he actually played at George Washington University, and he's one of the, obviously I'm biased, but he's one of the best players to ever play at GW.
Props.
Of course. So he coached high school basketball for over 30 years, and he also refereed. So I was definitely immersed in the game through my dad, and my brother played. But at first I wasn't really I wasn't feeling basketball. I wasn't good at it. So I think I grew about 6 or 7 inches in 1 year, and I said, okay, maybe I should actually really give this a try, because now this is kind of getting ridiculous,
Yeah, I can identify with a growth spurt. When I entered high school as a freshman, I was maybe 5'10", 5'11". Oh, wow. And by my senior year, I was 6'8", so had a huge growth spurt through high school. My knees were killing me, to say the least. But so you were heavily recruited out of high school, right? So what made you choose University of Maryland ultimately?
It's interesting. I think Coach B is one of the best recruiters in the game, and she has this skill to just instill confidence and just have a very clear-cut plan on who you can become, and just her vision that she has for you and how it fits into the overall team. So when I think about how she recruited me in high school, when I was very unpolished, extremely raw, I just felt like, okay, she really believes I can become something special when I didn't even really see it in myself. So then when everyone started knocking, and when I actually committed to University of Connecticut, I was like, is this really what I want to do? Because I have this woman here that is telling me that she's going to help me become all these things. And yeah, I just think she had so much faith in me that I knew that's who I wanted to play for.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. So you spoke about an earlier injury. you actually tore your Achilles in your freshman year. I mean, serious injury. Haven't seen many come back from that. And so, had you ever been injured like that before? And what was that rehab process like for you?
No, I never experienced an injury quite like that. I broke my hand in high school, and that was devastating, going into state tournament. And it's so funny because Coach B was like, "Are you sure you want to play?" Because I was in high school with this club on my hand, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to play. Even if I play with 3 fingers, I'm going to play." But freshman year, I'd only played 8 games. And I'll never forget what that felt like. We were running a sprint and I just fell, and I knew, because I'm like, I'm always going to keep playing. So when I kept getting up to try to step and falling back down, I was like, yeah, this isn't really good. So pretty much I had to teach myself how to run, to walk, to do. I probably have done over 5 million calf raises in my life. In the grand scheme of things, it was just completely rebuilding my strength again.
Right. So you came back from that injury in a huge way. Big time season in the 2006 season. Like I mentioned earlier, most outstanding player in the NCAA tourney, and on to a championship season. What was that moment like, winning that championship, knowing the journey you had just been on and the obstacles you had to overcome in order to get there?
I don't think words can really describe how overjoyed I was in that moment. I think it was just the epitome of hard work really pays off. And, my drive to succeed and to come back. I just feel like I've always, you get knocked down, you get back up. You never stay down. And watching my teammates when I was hurt play, I was so motivated to be a part of that. And then knowing that Marissa and Christy were going to come in because, I was very close with them as well. I was even more encouraged to be a part of this team the following year,
Yeah. I, once again, familiar with that process, not tearing the Achilles, but breaking my leg in my junior season. Just sitting on the sidelines watching those guys play, it was excruciating, and that sense of urgency is in you. You just working harder and harder to try to get back as soon as possible. I mean, it was just the worst sitting on that bench watching the game. So I certainly can identify with that. So this year's women's team, fantastic team, championship caliber. Fell short, ran into a buzzsaw with Texas Longhorns. And I say fell short because this year's team was a championship caliber team. So what were the things, in your opinion, that elevated that 2006 team to a national championship?
I mean, we loved each other. We really, really just all had a genuine care for each and every person on the team. And I think it seems like such a small thing, but there just wasn't any drama because we really, really cared about each person and we identified our roles and we did them. I think that it's just a really hard concept nowadays to excel in your role. I'll never forget it. I was the 5th option. That is what I was. That is what Jeff Walt very much instilled in me, that I was supposed to pass to 1 through 4. And if I got an offensive rebound, fine, 1 through 4. And then maybe if the shot clock was winding down, then I could shoot. And that was just the reality of who I was for the team. And I owned it. I really did.
So once again, man, we have so many similarities, but I was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and you were drafted by number 10 by the Sacramento Monarchs. What was that like, hearing your name called on draft night?
I'll never forget that feeling. It was kind of all the hard work really just came to that one moment that, wow, this is my dream. Now I'm drafted, I'm playing in the WNBA. I'm going to make a team. I'm going to have an impact. And I felt so blessed to have just that experience, and my parents and everyone able to experience that with me. coaches as well.
So yeah, I spent some days down in old Sacktown, and so I lived off of Pocket Road. So you get off the exit. If you went to the left, it was a little tricky down that way, but to the right, big luxury homes and all of those things. So I had a great time playing in Sac. It was a great introduction for me into the NBA for sure. So after that, you played a few years internationally, and then immediately jumped right into coaching. Why coaching? Did injuries kind of lead you down that path, or was coaching always a part of the plan for you?
No, for sure. So after my second season in Sacramento, I tore my ACL. So after tearing my ACL, I had a lot of knee surgeries after that. And every time that I came back to rehab at Maryland specifically, I grew more and more desire to give back in a way that wasn't going to kill my body. Mm-hmm. And I felt like this game has just blessed me and showed me so much joy that I felt like this was my purpose, to teach and to love and to grow and give back. And I'll never forget the year Essence was there. And it was like there was so many ACLs. I think there was 2, 3, maybe 4 ACLs that year, actually. Wow. When I came back and I was rehabbing, there were a bunch of injuries. And as I came back and I saw that, I said, I think this is really what I want to do. And I'm watching it all. And I said, I can still be able to show them and love them the same way that Brendan, all my coaches, had done for me. And my last season overseas, I actually had a really great season, but my knee just was subluxing. I was in so much pain. It was so swollen all the time. I'm like, this is not how I should be living at 24 years old,
Yeah, for sure. So you were assistant coach for many years, and then you finally get your chance to be a head coach at Coppin State, and you're coaching in this environment, a pandemic environment. So what has that journey been like for you, transitioning, all those years as an assistant coach and now transitioning into being a head coach?
I think, again, I'm just a woman that's extremely faithful. So I feel as though my steps are very much ordered and this is where I'm supposed to be. But my first season coaching in a pandemic, I think if I'm not prepared now, I won't ever be prepared. I think the adversities as a coach this year that I've experienced and just learned, and just my overall temperament of, I am in control of nothing. And I have to be prepared to react and respond to anything thrown at me it's made me a better woman, a better leader, and just a better facilitator.
So you're head coach at Coppin State, and then you have another former alum there with you coaching the boys team in Juan Dixon. How has that experience been, having two Maryland folks, Maryland alum, coaching in the same university?
It's really awesome because we come from the same pedigree, and there's a level of respect there that I have for him and he has for me, and I know that he has my back. And at the end of the day, that we just respect the basketball in the state of Maryland. We have something that's there's a drive that's different, and we are both trying to pursue excellence there. So I think both winning national champions, both being in the position that we were able to be most outstanding players, it's really, really cool to have someone that's right down the hall that I can chop it up and just bounce ideas off of.
Yeah, great. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. Such a pleasure to talk with you and learn your story. It's always a treat to be able to talk to the straight ballers, let's get it, so it's also to be able to talk with you. And so good luck on your recruiting for this season. I know that's what it's all about, so good luck. And I'll be looking out for you in Juan and checking on you guys and seeing how well you do. So thanks again so much for joining us today. It's been a total pleasure.
Thank you. You have a great one.
All right.
To host a player show or appear as a player on a player show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.